"Sorry," he said and took out his wand, holding it in his chilly wet hands. He shot a drying spell at Goyle before Goyle thought to do it himself, which would most likely result in Goyle's robes bursting into flames. The image of Goyle bathed in flames was suddenly clear in front of the Draco's eyes. Draco looked down and tucked away his wand with shaky fingers. "There, all dry again," Draco said after a minute when he looked up. "Thanks." Goyle stroked his robe, looking impressed by the dryness of his clothes, as though he had never seen such a thing in his life. A smile tugged at Draco's lips. It was easy to impress Goyle. "Let's go. I need a shower. A warm shower," Draco said and turned, marching toward their common room, expecting Goyle to follow. The common room was located in one of the taller east towers that was unfortunately also one of the narrowest. Only the common room was spacious. The dormitories were small and stuffy, each with 3 beds and a small wardrobe. Draco's dormitory seemed even smaller than it truly was, thanks to the fact that he shared it with Goyle and Ernie Macmillan, who both snored very loudly indeed, and with Goyle's size and Ernie's ego, it was a miracle the room could contain them all. "If we don't drown tonight, that will be another miracle," Draco thought. Ernie would be aghast again, he realized. Pomfrey had failed to vanish Draco's cloud. To put it mildly, Ernie hadn't been thrilled about sharing his dormitory with the Slytherins. In the first place, every night before going to bed, Ernie would cast 1,000 protective charms around his part of the room, apparently convicted that Draco and Goyle would try to murder him in his sleep. Draco had sworn no such thing would happen. "Even if I ever decide to kill you, Ernie," Draco has told him one night, "rest assured I will do it in a place not easily tied back to me." Ever since, Ernie took care not to go anywhere unaccompanied. Draco still questioned the wisdom of coming back to Hogwarts. He had little choice. Mindful of the fact that students hadn't received proper education last year, Hogwarts had opened its door to every student who had failed or chosen not to take their NEWTs. Draco thought he should have passed his NUWTs, but the examiners seemed to anonymously disagree. A particularly bitter memory was that seeing of Professor Tofty shake his hand sadly when Draco had failed to produce a corporal patronus. "I remember your owls, Mr. Malfoy," he had said as he scribbled 4 on the old yellow parchment. "You can do better than this." After that, Draco had 3 choices: Durmstrang, homeschooling, or Hogwarts. Durmstrang sounded cold and unappealing, homeschooling sounded doubtful and boring, and Hogwarts sounded like torture. But it was also his best chance. He would have been stupid not to take it. Draco stopped abruptly, and a grim stone centaur stuck out his hand, palm outstretched, and screeched. "Halt! You're very bossy for a horse," Draco grumbled. The centaur ignored him and said, "A full list of tomorrow's homework, or you will be denied passage." Goyle huffed. "Tomorrow's Saturday." "Monday, then," the centaur persisted. "An essay on Dr. Obley's oblivious unction, and an essay of principal exceptions to Gump law of elemental transfiguration," Draco recited. The centaur still looked expectant. Draco gritted his teeth. "If I will leave Until later, I'm a big second-rater, he growled. A flash of lightning followed his words. The centaur leaped to the side. You may pass. Draco stomped into the empty common room. I hate Granger, whose bright idea was to put her in charge of the tower passwords. McGonagall's, Goyle exclaimed, looking proud he knew the answer. He sobered up quickly. That was one of the rhetorical questions, wasn't it? An astute observation, Draco said, staring morosely at the puddle of water beneath his feet. He shivered and resembled he had planned to take a warm shower. Not that his skin needed more water, but he didn't know how else to keep the chill at bay. Half an hour later he did feel a little better. The shower had warmed his somewhat. He changed out his wet clothes and put his dragon-hide boots and the thickest cloak he owned. He drank some pepper up, which made him feel instantly better, and then he took a big swallow of calming draught, which seems to make no difference at all, aside from making him sleepy. The moment he felt better, the dark cloud had shrunk, turned light gray, and flown up higher above Draco's head. The rain drizzled lazily, the raindrops turning soft and warm. Draco settled in a common room in one of the squishy brown armchairs by the fire and spent next 2 hours steadily demolishing his stash of sweets with Goyle. He took the opportunity to teach his friend how to play chess. Draco had taught Goyle chess rules several times in the past, but they seemed to evaporate quickly out of Goyle's head. By the time the rest of their classmates came pouring into common room, Draco's cloak was beginning to leak through, and the cloud above his head seemed to have swelled, sweeping rain all over Draco and his armchair. "Blimey!" Ernie cried as everyone stepped around carefully, avoiding the impressive flood that was threatening to cover the whole floor. "Didn't Pomfrey sort you out?" "She gave him some pepper up and calming draught," Goyle said promptly. Draco winced, wishing not for the first time Goyle would learn that just because he knew the answer it didn't mean he had to answer the question. This newly acquired trait of Goyle's was completely Draco's fault. He'd been tutoring Goyle the whole summer, and one of the things he had been constantly telling him, when you know the answer, don't hesitate to speak up. It was meant to encourage him and help him gain some confidence, but Goyle had taken that advice quite literally. Draco had not meant to imply Goyle should tell him truth at all times, but it was too late now. Goyle expected Draco to be pleased whenever he answered a question promptly and correctly. He also expected Draco to be pleased when he didn't hit, maim, or hack students who had accidentally brushed up against him in the hallway. Draco had told him he must never do that unless Draco himself requested it. Goyle dutifully obeyed Draco's every word, and Draco was unwilling to lose his confidence. What would Goyle do without him? To be continued.